Be me. 24-year-old IT consultant named Jake. Relatively normal life, working from home most days. Got this neighbor, Sarah, mid-20s, works in some corporate HR department and thinks she's got the world figured out. She's one of those people who constantly posts on social media about toxic masculinity and male privilege and how easy men have it in literally everything. Every time I see her in the hallway, she's got something to say about the patriarchy or how men don't understand real struggle. One day, I'm getting my mail and she starts going off again. You know, Jake, you guys have no idea how hard it is being a woman in the workplace. The emotional labor alone would destroy you. I'm just trying to grab my Amazon package, but she keeps going. Tells me about how her male coworkers get promotions just for existing while she has to work twice as hard for half the recognition. Mentions something about how men can't handle emotions and would crumble under the pressure women deal with daily. I just nod and smile because I've learned there's no winning these conversations. Fast forward 2 weeks. Weird storm rolls through town, lightning everywhere, power flickering like crazy. I'm in my apartment playing video games when suddenly, boom, massive lightning strike hits nearby. Everything goes white for a second and I smell ozone. Wake up on my floor like 20 minutes later with the worst headache of my life. Stumble to bathroom to splash water on my face and nearly have a heart attack. I'm looking at Sarah's face in the mirror, start screaming, but it comes out in her voice. Look down and yep, definitely in Sarah's body, complete with the business casual outfit she always wears. My phone starts ringing from my apartment next door, and I hear my voice answering it. Run next door and pound on the door until Sarah opens it, except she's in my body looking absolutely terrified. "What the hell happened?" she yells. "I don't know, the lightning, we switched bodies or something." We both freak out for like an hour trying to figure out what to do. She keeps touching my face on her body, and I'm trying not to have an existential crisis. Finally, we agree we need to just live each other's lives until we figure out how to switch back. Sarah seems almost excited about it at first. Well, I guess I'll finally get to experience that legendary male privilege firsthand, she says with this smug smile. I'm too panicked to even respond, just trying to remember what meetings she has this week. Next morning comes and I have to go to her job. She works at this huge corporate office, middle management in HR. I'm going through her morning routine and holy shit, the makeup alone takes 40 minutes. Finally understand why women wake up so early. This is actual insanity. Get to her office and immediately her co-worker, Jessica, comes over. "Sarah, did you finish the diversity report? Karen needs it by noon and she's already in a mood." I have absolutely no idea what report she's talking about. Spend the next hour frantically searching through Sarah's emails trying to find anything about a diversity report. Finally find it. It's like 60 pages of data that needs to be formatted and analyzed. Sarah apparently had been working on it for 2 weeks and it's still not done. I'm grinding through it when Jessica comes back. Also, "Sarah, can you handle the Johnson complaint? I'm swamped, and you're so much better at de-escalating than I am." Now I've got this angry employee complaint to deal with, on top of everything else. The complaint is from some guy who feels his manager is being unfair about his schedule. Spend an hour on the phone with this dude who will not stop talking about his personal problems. He keeps going off on tangents about his divorce and his kids and how nobody respects him. I'm trying to be empathetic, but also get him back to the actual workplace issue. Lunch break finally comes and I'm exhausted. Check my phone and Sarah has sent me like 15 texts from my body. "This is amazing, Jake. Everyone at your company is so chill. Your boss just asked my opinion and actually listened. This is incredible. I finished your project in like 2 hours. Why did you say it would take all week?" I'm literally grinding my teeth reading these messages. Text back that I'm drowning in work and emotional labor, and she just sends back a laughing emoji. Afternoon gets worse somehow. Karen, Sarah's boss, calls me into her office. She starts immediately criticizing the diversity report, saying it lacks depth and emotional intelligence. "Sarah, you usually bring such nuance to these reports. What happened?" I'm trying to explain I can make revisions, but she cuts me off. Then she pivots to asking about my emotional state. "You seem stressed lately. Is everything okay at home? Are you taking care of yourself?" This woman is literally doing a wellness check on me in the middle of performance criticism. Spend 20 minutes assuring her I'm fine while she psychoanalyzes every aspect of my body language. Get back to my desk and there's another crisis. 2 employees got into an argument and both filed complaints against each other. Now I have to mediate this situation and figure out who's telling the truth. Both of them keep trying to make me take their side emotionally. One woman starts crying in my office, talking about how disrespected she feels. The other person keeps insisting they're the real victim, and I need to understand their perspective. This goes on for 2 hours, and by the end I've got a splitting headache, and we've barely resolved anything. They both leave my office, clearly unsatisfied, and I just know this is going to come back to haunt me later. Finally, end of day comes, and I'm absolutely destroyed. Get home, and Sarah is already there in my apartment, feet up, playing my video games. "Hey, how was your first day as a woman in corporate America?" she asks, all cheerful. I just collapse on the couch next to her. That was the most emotionally exhausting day of my entire life. How do you do that every single day? She pauses her game and looks confused. "What do you mean? It's just HR work. It's not that complicated." I start explaining everything. The constant emotional labor, the wellness checks, the mediation, the complaints. How everyone expects you to be their therapist while also being perfectly professional and getting actual work done. The way Karen criticized me but wrapped it in concern about my emotional well-being. How I had to manage everyone's feelings while suppressing my own frustration. Sarah's face slowly changes as I'm talking. "Okay, but that's just your job being difficult. My job was easy as hell today." She starts telling me about her day in my body. Apparently she logged into my work expecting the legendary easy mode of male privilege. Instead, she got my project manager, Dave, who immediately dumped a huge deadline on her. He just said, "Need this done by Friday," and walked away. No discussion, no checking if I was okay, nothing. I nod because, yeah, that's literally how Dave operates with everyone. She continues, clearly getting worked up. Then I tried to bring up some concerns about the timeline, and he just said, "Figure it out," like my input didn't even matter. I'm trying not to laugh because this is exactly what I deal with daily. And then during the team meeting, I tried to share some ideas and everyone just talked over me. She's getting really animated now, standing up and pacing. Like I'd start talking and someone would just interrupt and everyone would listen to them instead. I kept waiting for someone to ask how I was feeling or if I needed support, but everyone just expected me to handle everything independently. I'm just watching her have this realization in real time. And the pressure, Jake, the constant pressure to perform without any emotional support or acknowledgement. Nobody checked in on me. Nobody asked if I was struggling. They just kept piling on expectations. She sits back down looking genuinely shaken. I thought I'd get to coast on male privilege, but instead everyone just expects you to be a machine that produces results without any human needs. We sit in silence for a minute. Finally, I speak up. So maybe both of our jobs are hard in completely different ways, and neither of us has it objectively easier. She looks at me and I can see the wheels turning. I'm not saying women don't face unique challenges, Sarah, because you clearly do, but men aren't just cruising through life on easy mode either. She nods slowly, looking tired. I just thought, I don't know what I thought, that being a man would be this automatic advantage in everything. Instead, I just felt isolated, like I was expected to handle everything alone without any support system. The next few days continue this pattern. I'm dealing with the emotional complexity of her HR job, and she's dealing with the isolated pressure of my IT work. She texts me after day 3. Someone made a sexist joke in a meeting and everyone looked at me expecting me to laugh. I didn't know what to do, so I just stayed quiet and then everyone acted like I was being uptight. "Even though I'm in your body," I text back about how I had to console someone crying in my office for an hour about their personal life and then still finish their workplace complaint. We're both getting a crash course in each other's daily struggles. By the end of week 1, Sarah is stressed. She comes over to my apartment after work and just vents. I cannot believe how much emotional suppression is expected. Like I tried to express frustration today and everyone acted like I was being aggressive. My voice, well, your voice, apparently sounds angry when I'm just trying to be assertive. I'm nodding along because I've experienced this my whole life. And the loneliness, Jake. Nobody asks how I'm doing. Nobody seems to care if I'm struggling. They just want results. She looks genuinely distressed by this. Like today, I was having a hard time with a problem and I waited for someone to offer help and nobody did. I finally had to figure it out myself, and when I did, everyone just moved on like it was expected. I tell her about my week managing her job, the constant emotional availability that's expected being everyone's support system while maintaining professional boundaries. How exhausting it is to validate everyone's feelings while also trying to actually solve workplace problems. The way her boss Karen layers criticism with emotional concern in a way that makes it hard to even process the feedback. And don't even get me started on the bathroom politics. Jessica asked me 3 times if I was okay today, just because I wasn't as chatty as usual. Sarah actually laughs at that. Okay, yeah, Jessica does that to me constantly. It's like you're not allowed to just be quiet without everyone thinking something's wrong. Week 2 is when things get really interesting. Sarah has a major presentation in my body for a client meeting. She prepares extensively, like more than I would have, because she wants to prove she can handle it. Texts me afterwards. They barely asked any questions, just nodded and approved everything. Is it always this easy to get your ideas accepted? I text back that, yeah, pretty much. If you present with confidence, people tend to just trust you. Then she sends another text. Wait, but that's not fair. I work twice as hard on presentations in my actual body and get way more pushback. There it is, the actual privilege realization hitting her. Meanwhile, I'm dealing with a sexual harassment complaint at her work. Some manager apparently made inappropriate comments to a female employee. I have to interview both parties and figure out what actually happened while being sensitive to everyone's trauma. The emotional weight of this is crushing because one of them is clearly lying, but I can't figure out who. The woman is crying, talking about how unsafe she feels, and the manager is indignant about false accusations. I literally spend 6 hours navigating this minefield, trying to get to the truth while supporting everyone emotionally. Text Sarah about it, and she just responds with, "Holy shit, that sounds impossible." Eventually, I recommend counseling for both parties and a temporary separation while investigation continues. Karen congratulates me on handling it with such grace and emotional intelligence. I feel like I aged 5 years in one day. Sarah, on the other hand, has a different crisis. One of my coworkers invites her, in my body, to get drinks after work with the guys. She accepts, thinking it'll be like her normal social outings. Texts me at 9 p.m. "Jake, why don't you guys talk about anything real? We've been talking about sports and work for 3 hours. I laugh and text back that, yeah, that's what guys do. We don't really dig into emotions with casual work friends. She sends back, "But don't you feel lonely? Like, doesn't anyone want to actually connect?" I explain that guys do connect, just differently, through shared activities and jokes rather than deep emotional conversations. She doesn't text back for a while, and when she does, it just says, "I finally understand why men have such high suicide rates. This emotional isolation is suffocating." That text hits me harder than expected. She's right in a way I never fully articulated before. We're both experiencing the shadow sides of each other's gendered expectations. She's feeling the isolation and emotional suppression expected of men. I'm feeling the constant emotional labor and hypervisibility of women. Neither is objectively better or worse, just different flavors of difficulty. Week 3 brings a major turning point. There's a company event at Sarah's work, some networking mixer type thing. I have to attend in her body and I'm dreading it. Get there and immediately 3 different men approach me to network. But the conversations are weird. They keep standing too close, maintaining intense eye contact. And one guy actually touches my lower back while guiding me to the bar. I physically recoil and he looks offended. "Just being friendly," he says with this smile that doesn't reach his eyes. Spend the whole night navigating these interactions, where I can't tell if someone is being professional or hitting on me. One senior manager corners me by the elevators, starts asking about my weekend plans and if I'm seeing anyone. I try to redirect to work topics, but he keeps pushing the personal questions. Finally says, "You know, Sarah, you should smile more. You look so serious all the time." I literally want to punch him, but instead I just force a smile and excuse myself. Text Sarah immediately about this and she responds, "Welcome to my entire life." Now imagine that happening constantly and being expected to just handle it gracefully. I suddenly understand so many of her previous complaints in a visceral way I never did before. The same week, Sarah has her own revelation moment. She's working late in my body trying to finish a project when building security stops her. Apparently they don't recognize her and need to see ID even though I've worked there for 2 years. She shows my ID and the guard looks suspicious. "You seem nervous. Is everything all right?" He keeps asking probing questions. Sarah gets frustrated and snaps at him, which makes him more suspicious. She texts me freaking out. "The guard almost called the cops on me because I looked suspicious working late. I've never been treated like a potential threat before." I explain that, yeah, men, especially in certain contexts, are viewed with automatic suspicion. She sends back, "This is insane. I was just trying to work, and suddenly I'm being treated like a criminal." By week 4, we're both completely exhausted and have gained massive perspective. We meet up at a coffee shop to talk about everything. Sitting across from each other in our swapped bodies is still surreal. Sarah speaks first. I owe you an apology, Jake. I spent so much time talking about male privilege that I completely ignored the actual struggles men face. I shake my head. And I never fully understood the constant emotional labor and hypervigilance women deal with. I thought you were exaggerating. We both just sit there for a moment acknowledging the complexity. The thing is, Sarah continues, you do have certain advantages as a man, like people taking your ideas seriously more quickly or not being hit on at professional events. But you also face this crushing pressure to suppress emotions and handle everything independently without any support structure. I nod in agreement. And you face constant emotional demands and navigation of social dynamics that I never even registered as labor because it seemed natural, plus the physical safety concerns and having your competence constantly questioned despite proving yourself repeatedly. She's tearing up a bit now. I spent so much energy being angry about male privilege that I turned men into this monolith instead of seeing individual humans with their own struggles. We talk for hours about everything we've experienced. The isolation she felt as a man versus the hypervisibility I felt as a woman. The emotional suppression expected of men versus the emotional labor expected of women. The physical freedom men have versus the intellectual credibility. How both genders face impossible standards just in different ways. Sarah talks about how terrifying it was to realize that men's mental health struggles are so dismissed. I talk about how exhausting it is to have your appearance constantly monitored and commented on. We're both crying by the end because we finally see each other's experiences as real and valid. So what do we do now? I ask. Sarah wipes her eyes. We figure out how to switch back and then we try to be better to each other, I guess. And maybe stop making assumptions. About other people's lives based on their gender? I laugh and agree. Yeah, maybe recognize that life is hard for everyone just in different ways, and we should support each other instead of competing over who has it worse. That night there's another massive storm. We both stand on Sarah's balcony watching the lightning. Think it'll work? She asks. Only one way to find out. The lightning strikes nearby and everything goes white again. I wake up in my own apartment, in my own body. Immediately check my phone and Sarah has texted. We're back! Thank God I missed my body so much. I text back that I'm relieved too, but also grateful for the experience. The next few weeks are different between us. We actually become friends, real friends who understand each other. Sarah stops posting oversimplified takes about male privilege and starts having more nuanced conversations. I start calling out casual sexism when I see it instead of staying quiet. We meet for coffee regularly and talk about our work experiences with actual empathy now. She tells me about dealing with a handsy manager, and I validate how hard that must be instead of minimizing it. I tell her about feeling isolated during a mental health struggle, and she actually listens instead of dismissing it. One day she brings up the whole experience. You know what the weirdest part was? Realizing that my feminist anger was somewhat justified, and that men genuinely struggle too. Both things can be true simultaneously. I nod. Yeah. And realizing that women face real discrimination, and that doesn't mean men have everything easy. Complexity is uncomfortable, but it's reality. She smiles. I spent so much energy on gender wars when I should have been building understanding. What a waste. Months later, Sarah gives a talk at her company about workplace dynamics. She invites me to come watch. She talks about emotional labor, gender expectations, and the importance of supporting all employees, regardless of gender. Mentions without naming me the perspective she gained from walking in someone else's shoes. Talks about how men face pressure to suppress emotions which harms everyone. Talks about how women face constant emotional demands that go unrecognized. Advocates for better mental health support, more equitable emotional labor distribution, and recognition of everyone's struggles. The room is silent. People are actually listening and thinking. Afterwards, we grab dinner and she's excited. 3 people came up to me after and shared their own experiences. One guy even cried talking about how isolated he feels. I tell her I'm proud of her for using the experience to create positive change. She gets serious for a moment. You know, Jake, I spent years being angry at men for having it easier, but now I realize nobody really has it easy. We're all just struggling in different ways. The patriarchy hurts everyone, men and women, just differently. And the only way forward is empathy and understanding, not gender wars. I raise my beer. I'll drink to that. Here's to actually seeing each other as full humans with complex experiences. We clink glasses and I think about how much has changed. Sarah went from thinking men were weak and had everything handed to them to understanding the genuine struggles men face. I went from not fully grasping women's experiences to recognizing the constant navigation and labor they perform. Neither of us is perfect now. We still mess up and have blind spots, but we're actually trying to understand each other instead of dismissing each other's experiences. The body swap was the most stressful month of my life, but it taught me more about gender, empathy, and human experience than years of arguments ever could. Sarah and I joke sometimes about doing a joint TED Talk about our experience. Obviously we can't because nobody would believe us, but the lessons are real. Life is hard for everyone, just in different ways. Gender comes with different privileges and different struggles. The only way forward is recognizing everyone's humanity and supporting each other. Still neighbors, still friends, still learning. Sarah dates a guy now who she says reminds her of the better parts of my experience, someone thoughtful and emotionally aware. She tells him about the emotional isolation many men face, and he opens up about his own struggles. I'm more aware now in my dating life too, recognizing the emotional labor women perform and trying to share that burden. We both still deal with the gendered expectations and difficulties of our lives, but now we have empathy for each other's experiences, and that makes all the difference. My face when I learned that everyone's struggles are valid even when they're different. That face when you realize empathy is more productive than competition and understanding beats dismissiveness every single time.